Hello, thank you for coming back to my channel. You are very welcome. Today I'm making cottage / shepherd's pie. I can't decide what to call it. It's a vegetarian version because I use Quorn mince. It's a vegetarian version of cottage pie, which is, if you make cottage pie, you use beef, which I'm not using. And if you make shepherd's pie, you use lamb mince, which I'm not using. I'm using vegetarian mince. So I'm not sure what to call it. What I normally do is call it shepherd's pie and then change it very quickly to cottage pie. So take your pick. We'll get straight into it. Here's how I made it. So first we need to mash our potatoes. I've already put a big saucepan on to boil, filled with water. This is a recipe that I never weigh anything for, I just do. And obviously today, to show you, I've had to weigh stuff. Not sure how much potatoes, enough for 2 people to make mashed potatoes. So that's what we're doing first. So I've weighed the potatoes I have, and I've weighed 1 pound and 7 ounces. So we'll peel these, get them in the pan and see if that's right, basically, because once they're in the pan, I'll know exactly how much I need. So I cut my potatoes up in tiny pieces and I'm just going to put them in the pan of boiling water. My guesstimate for the amount of potatoes at 1 pound 7 ounces was correct. So they're all in the pan, as you can see, boiling away, and they'll need to boil for 20 minutes. While they're boiling, I'm just going to put roughly about 4 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan and turn that on a low heat. Now we're going to chop 1 onion, and this needs to be very finely chopped. So how I do this is I grab the edge, the stuff that I've peeled off, and then I'll cut down into the onion. And cut across twice, being careful of your fingers, and then cut this way. And as you can see, we're getting tiny pieces of onion. And then when you get to the end, just do the best you can, cutting down, cutting across, and then getting as most as you can. And as you can see, I'm using this bit to anchor it all there, and that I'm going to put in the saucepan. And we'll just do the same to the next half of the onion. And then we need to chop our garlic cloves. So we want 1 garlic clove. I always have this piece of kitchen roll here, so all the bits from the onion and the garlic can be put on there. Then I can it's easier to move it all away in one bit then. So I chop my garlics the same way as I chop my onion. So slice down there, slice across, and then slice into the tiniest pieces you can. And when you come to the end, just chop up again so it's fine. Yes, I do not like garlic presses. You lose so much garlic using the garlic press because it all gets stuck in the press, so it's best to chop. It's easy enough. So I'm just going to set that aside for a while because I need to wait for my onions to cook. So the onions need to be fried off for, I would say, at least 5 or 6 minutes. We don't want any raw onions in the pie. So one quick tip as I'm stirring these, because I've just washed my hands from chopping both the onion and the garlic. If you wash your hands in cold water, so under the cold tap, just use your ordinary soap, you won't get the smell of onions and garlic on your hands, because if you wash them under hot water, the garlic and onions cook on your hands if you wash them in hot water, but if you wash them in cold water, the garlic and onion doesn't cook and you don't get any smell, and yeah, perfectly sweet. So once our onions are all cooked down like this, and it has been about 6 minutes now, I turn the heat right down because we don't want high heat for cooking garlic, and just pop my garlic in the pan. Oh God, it smells so nice. And just cook that for about 3 minutes. So once the garlic's been in for a couple of minutes, we put the Quorn mince in. As I said, this is vegetarian mince. You can use any vegetarian mince. I'm using Quorn today, but you can use any vegetarian mince, and you can also use it from frozen. So straight out the freezer, just pour your mince in and it will defrost in the pan. Take a little bit longer, but it will get there. It will only take a minute longer. So that just needs to warm through. What happens is the mince soaks up all the oil. So you've had your onions frying and your garlic frying, and the mince will soak up that flavour now. So just leave that cooking for about a minute, I would say. Once the mince is cooked, I'm going to put into this pan about a rounded dessert spoonful of plain flour. And this needs to cook, the flour needs to cook for 2 minutes, because this is going to act like a roux. It's going to make, when we put the gravy in, or the stock, it's going to make it thicken. So that needs to cook. It needs to be left to cook. Just make sure your flour doesn't burn on the bottom of the pan. It is worth timing this 2 minutes, so it's definitely cooked. So once the flour has cooked for at least 2 minutes, we're going to put in the stock. And just keep stirring this. As you can see, it's thickening. So this is about 1/4 pint of stock, which is 150 grams, and you just want to keep stirring. As you can see, it's getting a nice thick consistency. We'll turn the heat off, then we're just going to season with some salt and some black pepper. And then we just pour all this mixture into our heat-proof bowl. And now we're going to mash the potatoes. So the potatoes are done, and I'm just going to put some butter in them. They need to stay quite firm, so I don't put milk in. And some salt. And what I do is I cut them up first with a knife, and kind of get them going. And then go in with the masher. And once it's all mashed, just spoon the mash on top of the mince mixture. Try and get it as even as you can. Make life a lot easier when you spread it out. So once you've got all the potato in, just spread it out with a fork, best you can. And then start from the edge and pull the fork round, moving the bowl, and just go around making these fork marks in a circle. until you get to the middle. There, and that will brown nicely like that. So that now goes into a hot oven, 180 degrees centigrade, 350 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately half an hour to 35 minutes. So my cottage pie is done. Let's get it out of the oven. Oh, lovely, look at that. I did turn my, to brown the top of the cottage pie, I did turn my oven up to 200 degrees centigrade or 400 degrees Fahrenheit 10 minutes before the end of cooking, but it still needed 10 minutes to brown, and you want all this crispy on the top because that's the whole idea, that's the best part. As always, I've put the ingredients in the description. If you've enjoyed this recipe, please let me know, and I'll see you again next week.